Hey, how's it going, guys? And so, something that's been on my mind lately is I don't know if you want to call them conservative podcasters or right wing podcasters or a combination of the both. I want to, I guess I can throw out some names: Dave Smith, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson. Those are probably some of the more prominent ones. Um, right now, for some reason, they're kind of on a little tirade of, I don't know if it's anti-Trump speaking or rhetoric or whatever words you want to use. Um, but it's kind of crazy to me, right? I just wanted to bring it up, talk about it, because I don't understand it, right? I really, really, really don't understand what's happening right now with the conservative media, or not all of it, but some of it, and or right wing media, whatever, however you want to reference it is good with me. I'll run with it. Don't really care. Um, because I don't understand it. I really, really don't. Right now, they're really kind of on a full force attack against Trump, talking about this isn't what we voted for. And I sincerely don't understand what they are talking about. Like, because from what I see, right? From what I see, I am getting everything I wanted and more, right? And 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 it's happening so fast that it's like, wow, right? I mean, I could have never guessed that in a matter of months that border would be shut down, right? And for I guess where I want to start is I listen to all of them: Tucker, Candace, Dave Smith, Nick Fuentes. I listen to all of them religiously because I value their opinion. Candace is absolutely brilliant. Tucker, I wouldn't say he's brilliant, but he's very mainstream. You have to respect him, and you have to respect the fact that people from all walks of life are willing to talk to him. And these are people in very, very, very high positions. And he does a good job of challenging them. You have Dave Smith. He's not right wing or conservative, but he is independent. He did vote for Trump this time. Um, and who is and Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, he considers himself more right wing than most. I don't see him as a hardcore right wing. I actually see him more as just a populist, kind of the same way a Cenk Uyghur is on the left wing. He's more of that on the right wing. So I don't really consider him hardcore right wing, but that's how he would classify himself. I encourage you to go and listen to all of these people's podcasts because all of them, every single one of them make extremely, extremely good, valid points. And they all bring up very, very good topics and issues that should be addressed. And they do bring attention to issues that need to be addressed. They really do. I Go listen to them, guys, because every single one of them is a diamond that is unique in its own way, and they all bring something very heavy to the table. And so I am not here trying to demean them or talk bad about them. Not at all. It's the opposite. It's just me trying to make sense of what's happening and where they're coming from. And as myself, as an individual, as somebody who voted for Trump 3 times, and to be completely honest, I respect our Constitution. I love our Constitution. If there was any way to amend that Constitution so our president can run for a third term and win, I actually would consider that. But it would have to go through the proper channels. It would have to go through approval through the Congress and whatnot. But just to do it, no, I wouldn't be for that because I believe our Constitution is what has protected us from transforming into this dystopian future. And let's be honest, America itself has been right there on the line several times throughout history. Um, so I want to talk about that, right? One of the main things that I hear from these intellectuals on the right and independents is this isn't what I voted for. And what I don't understand is what part, right? I remember when Dave Smith, one of his biggest thing was, I think, the Bitcoin guy, the Silk Road guy, that had to do with Bitcoin and whatnot. He was arrested. He was in jail. And Dave Smith was like, if Trump can just pardon him, I would, greatest president ever. The first 2 months, Trump pardons him. And Dave Smith's like, oh my God, amazing. And then he goes even further and he's like, well, we got to get this border together. And then next thing you know, the border's fixed in 2 months. And he's like, oh my God. And so you're talking about two of the biggest. Oh, and then let's just talk about Bitcoin itself, where he's legalizing it. He's making it mainstream. He's bringing it to the forefront, passing legislation, the Genius Act, that allows all institutions to transact in crypto. This is one of the foundational aspects, that issues that Dave Smith was talking about. And now that it's happening, he's like, this isn't what I voted for. And I don't get it. You're like, my friend, this is exactly what you voted for. And not only is it exactly what you voted for, it's what you voted for and you're getting more. Right? And so what I think when, and I'm just talking about Dave Smith for right now. I think what Dave Smith has done is he's kind of pigeonholed his vision on the Gaza conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, Hamas, and what happened with Iran. So he pigeonholed, so he put everything aside, that he's like, if Trump just did this, greatest president ever. He set all that aside and he focused strictly here on the Israel-Gaza, and he's like, what are you doing? And in my mind, I'm like, what do you want him to do? Do you like you don't want boots on the ground? None of us do. None of us want boots on the ground. That's the people that should be dying in that war should be Jews and Palestinians. Nowhere in the mix should American boots on the ground be in the mix, because it's not our problem. They're killing each other. That's their problem. And it's really difficult to try to understand, because where's the disagreement? Where's the discontent? Like where's the disconnect with how things are being settled? For the first time in a long time, guys, we're literally talking about possible peace in the Middle East, right? We're not really talking about any major conflicts in the Middle East. They all have been kind of resolved. Now, are there little flare-ups here and there that happen? But they are getting crushed really fast. But here's the biggest thing that's changed now compared to back then. Times have passed. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, typically these countries that were bastions of creating the flare-ups, now they're part of the solution. Now these guys are actually, they're attempting to resolve the problems rather than fund them or escalate them for their betterment. For the first time, these guys are actually there with our president trying to solve the problems. They were significant in getting a ceasefire in Palestine or in Gaza or whatever you want to call it. As far as Candace Owens, right now she's pigeonholed herself with the Charlie Kirk thing. And completely understandable, because truth is, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, when he was murdered, assassinated, it hurt me. Like, I was like, man, I didn't know the guy, bro. And I'm not going to sit here and say I cried for him. I can't cry for somebody I didn't know. But it did hurt, because I saw Charlie Kirk as a very transformational person. I love the way that he would go talk to people on college and in different places. I love the way he interacted with people. I love the way that he dialogued with people. But most importantly, I really love the way he did it in a respectful manner. He wasn't arrogant. At no point in time did he attempt to demean or make people feel bad about their beliefs. He just engaged with them. And he pushed back in a very polite way. And I just don't understand. Like, you know, she, Candace Owens has really pigeonholed herself into this one topic, and I can understand that maybe because a lot of things have been pushed to the back to keep kind of this radio silence. She can how she can come to the conclusion that there might be some cahoots with her and I'm sorry, with the Trump administration, the FBI, and the state of Israel and whatnot. But at the same time, she has no evidence for it, right? She doesn't have anything that can verify or validate her suspicions. It's all just suspicion at this time. And now, are there things that are, kind of raise red flags? Of course, man. Of course. You're talking about probably in in modern times, going back as far as, Martin Luther King, you're talking about possibly the second most transformational person in history was just assassinated on live TV. On live TV, man. No, I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk was Martin Luther King. I'm not. Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King. But Charlie Kirk was somebody that he made a huge impact on the younger generation. Not only did he make the biggest impact when it came to politics, but he made the biggest impact when it came to Christianity and and Jesus Christ and pushing Catholicism, right? Or Christianity, whatever you want to call it. You know, um, he was a huge advocate for it. He pushed it, and he was able to convert a lot of people, get a lot of people to not just, you know, not just convert to Christianity or Catholicism, but to, for the first time, hear the words of Jesus Christ, right? The Bible. But, you know, Candace Owens has, she's really pigeonholed herself into just this one thing. And even though it's a humongous thing, and I understand her relationship with Charlie Kirk makes it very personal, but she's taken it to a point that's more severe than that of Charlie Kirk's wife, the mother of his kids. And the question is, if Erica Kirk isn't out there, spewing these words or, saying the same thing that she's saying with all these suspicions, I think there might be a disconnect there. I think that there is a disconnect there. Erica Kirk, you know, the that's the wife of Charlie Kirk. That's his baby's mom. That's the mother of his children. And you know, Candace Owens has this fire under her that's more significant than that of Erica Kirk. And not saying Erica Kirk doesn't, but there, it's so hard to explain without trying to demean or talk bad about Candace, because I do not want to do that, because she is an amazing person, an amazing intellectual. But there's a disconnect there, guys. That's all I'm saying. And none of us know what truly or sincerely happened, because there is a blackout of information. And there might be a blackout of information because it goes deeper than any one of us can ever fathom. I don't know. And all I'm saying is, up until that point, she was happy. Everything was like, oh my God, Trump is great. Trump is doing amazing. And then this one thing happens, and it's a big thing. And she's kind of just, pigeonholed herself to just look at this and block out everything else that's positive and be like, this isn't what I voted for. The Epstein files. This isn't what I voted for. And I'm like, this is what I voted for, right? Sure. Did we get all the Epstein files? No, we haven't. Did we get a lot of them? We did. Are they working? They just released more. And, they're going to continue releasing more. But this idea that they're going to do this data dump overnight and just be like, here's everything, that's a fallacy for several reasons. One, because maybe everything's not there, guys. You have to keep in mind, from the time President Trump won office in November to the time he took power, to the time he was able to get people in power and heads of departments, you're talking about 5 months. 5 months. The deep state, the people in power, had 5 months to erase and burn and delete or alter as much information as they possibly could. How do we know this isn't everything? We're waiting for more, but what if there isn't more? What if there are what if the more that's there is corrupted? What if the more that's there is nothing more than tidbits that's just breadcrumbs that can't explain anything? If anything, it's going to cause more confusion. All I'm saying is, we as people on the right, and I'm a hardcore right winger, guys. I'm a very proud right winger. I don't know when being a right winger became this horrible thing to be, but I'm a hardcore right winger. I believe in God. I believe in guns. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe women are women. I believe men are men. I believe that it's a man's job to take care of his kids and his wife, and I believe it's a wife's job to take care of the kids and her husband. I believe that being independent from the government should be every family's top priority. I don't believe dependency is a good thing. I believe it's a very, very bad thing, to be honest. And I think that's the first step to a totalitarian government, is government dependency. Because the more people depend on government, the greater it has to become. But if nobody depends on government, well, the government has no need to grow. It's a action reaction type of deal. You have people like Myron Gaines, same thing, right? Like, up until a certain point, like, he was like, oh my gosh, and then he also has pigeonholed himself onto this Gaza Israel thing, but it has nothing to do with us. And granted, we are partners with Israel, and I too am questioning, what is the benefit of being their friends? Like, what do we get in return? And the response that I hear online and from other podcasts is, well, they keep the Middle East stabilized. They keep it safe so that it doesn't trickle into America. And I can't say that that's true, because the Middle East has been burning for the longest of times. The war has been, running across the Middle East. This conflict with Israel in the Middle East has been going on forever. And we don't have to get involved, but we get involved because they're supposedly our number one ally. And I just don't see how that benefits us. And right now you have the Mark Levins and the Ben Shapiros and others running around talking about, we have to stand side by side with Israel and blah, blah. And here's the thing, guys. In my own personal life, if I knew somebody that every time I looked in their direction, they were getting into a conflict with somebody else, and then they would look at me and be like, bro, are you going to back me up or not? There will come a point with, no matter how good of a friend I am of theirs, I'd be like, bro, I can't fuck with you no more, bro. I can't mess with you no more. Like, your energy brings bad energy. Your personality invites drama. Like, I just can't mess with you no more, bro, because I have my own wife, I have my own kids, I have my own family, I have my own future to think about. And if I keep getting caught up with you and then your messes, let's just say you don't start none of it, But there's still something there that's causing that to come to you. And I refuse to believe it's just the fact that you're a Jew. That makes no sense. Because Jews in America are perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. It's just the Jews that are over there. All I know is, as a person, as an individual, anybody that brings negative energy, drama, problems, I remove them from my life and I move on and I don't look back. And I'm just starting to think that maybe it's time we do the same thing with Israel, where it's like, bro, yeah, I have love for you, bro. I do. But we just can't mess with you until you fix that. Like, you got to get that together. And once you get that together, we can be friends again. But until you get your life together, until you get your act together, until you can learn to build relationships in a responsible way without antagonizing or doing whatever it is that you're doing that's causing people to freaking hate you, I can't be your friend, bro. I just can't. And the same thing holds true with several countries in the EU. Like Britain, France. Like, why are we messing with them? Nothing but problems, nothing but trouble there, right? Same thing with Canada. Why are we messing with them? Let them burn to the ground. Same thing with Mexico. Why are we messing with them? Why are we doing this, war on drugs in Mexico? Let them do drugs. Let them kill their own citizens. That has nothing to do with us. Now, it becomes a problem when we open our borders and we allow all these people to just come in and we don't know who they are. And so because we just allowed them in and we don't know who they are, well, guess what, guys? Now it became our problem. Now we're stuck partnering with Mexico until we make a decision. Do we invade Mexico and take full control and kill off all the cartel and everybody that's associated with it? Or do we try to do this partnership with Mexico to see if we can clean it up from the institution within Mexico? I'm more, right now, to be honest, if I had to pick and I was a dictator, I would just storm our tanks, our jets, our drones through the Mexican border, take over the country, clean it out, and make Mexico a territory of America. Because it's gotten to a point where it's so out of hand that their politicians, their mayors, their governors are being assassinated on the streets every single week. You have the president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who's building a fence around her estate, the government buildings, to protect herself from mobs of people who are like, she's a narco president. And guess what? That rolls into us because we're bordered with them. And these people are trying to flee that. And in the midst of people fleeing, you have these evil actors trying to sneak themselves with those people. And they've successfully done it. They've dug tunnels. They do all types of things, guys, that are very creative and cost a lot of money. We need to make a choice when it comes to, we need to make a very, very hard choice on who we want to call friends. We need to make a choice on who we really create true partnerships with. And I don't think that Mexico is deserving. I don't think that Canada is deserving. I don't think that Britain is deserving. I don't think that France is deserving. I don't think that I don't think Israel no longer is deserving. I don't think a lot of these countries are deserving of our friendship, of our resources. They're not deserving of our muscle. They're not deserving of our military people to go and shed blood for them. They need to shed their own blood. Their own kids, their own fathers, their own sons, their own daughters need to go and shed blood for the protection of their own country. As an American first person, I'm not willing to send over any American lives. And keep in mind, American doesn't mean white. You have Americans that are of Indian descent, um, Mexican descent, Iranian descent, um, African descent, South American descent, as long as they come over here and they shed the skin of the place they ran and they are willing to put on the vest of America and say, I am American and nothing else, they are American. And so when those people come, I am not willing to send those people who transform from what they were to who they are now, which is Americans. I am not willing to sacrifice their kids to go fight in another country's war. I have kids, man, and I would love for them to serve the military. And I would be honored for my kids to go and fight in a war if it was a just war to protect the homeland. But we haven't had to protect our homeland. We are very fortunate that the location of America, United States of America, has two ginormous oceans in between all the mess. And in order for America to fall, it has to be done from within. And I think there's been a plan, an orchestrated plan by both Republican, Democrat, that's UN led, to dismantle our country, to take it over from within. And I said this in a previous video. I really do believe that the UN itself that they were responsible for the attempted assassination of President Trump. I do believe that the UN is responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We definitely know that they were responsible for the invasion, the immigrant invasion that's been happening over the past 5-10 years. We know that. That's already been verified true. Guys, I don't know what's happening with these individuals on the right. I don't know. But what I do know is I think they have pigeonholed themselves to ignore everything that positive that's happening because they're focusing on single issue items and they're like, what about this? This isn't what I voted for. And they're not taking into the fact that President Trump and his cabinet, they are fighting an all-out war, a 360 war. They are fighting the Democrats. They are fighting the UN. They are fighting NATO. We are fighting China, Russia, South America. We are fighting Mexico, Canada. We are at war with the banks. We're at war with everybody right now. We are at war with every single buddy right now because this is what it takes. We are at war with Israel. We are at war with everybody because this is what it takes to break the strings or the lines that have been attached. And when you have leeches or you have this squid with all these leeches and all these leeches are attached to you, you have to break them. And do you think that these people, these institutions, the mainstream media, do you think they're going to go away in silence? Or do you think that they're going to fight for their very existence to the end? Trump is at war with colleges, the mainstream media, with big tech, social media. Like, guys, he's at war with all of them. He is at a 360 war, and he's winning one by one by one by one by one. And he's taking out the landmines that have been set to cause the country to collapse. But just because it's not happening at the speed that you like, or it's not going through the process that you see or you feel is the right path to get to the solution, you're going to jump off the bandwagon even though they're still headed to the solution that you want, but you don't like the process that's being taken? There's lots of strategies, but you don't like that one strategy to get to that solution. We're headed to the solution, but you don't like the fact that this path was taken rather than the path you think would have been best suited. It's insane to me, guys. It's insane to me. And so, as a fan of all these people, as a humongous fan to all these people, I really hope that, I don't know, they resolve whatever it is inside of them that's causing them to be that way. I really do. When, as an American citizen, as a proud conservative, a proud right winger, I look at President Trump and his cabinet, and I am so proud of them. I am so, so, so proud of them. I am proud of almost everything they do. And yeah, once in a while, President Trump throws an idea out there like a 50-year mortgage, and you're like, oh. But it was just a thought, bro. He was throwing a thought, and all of a sudden, these guys are like, "Oh my God, you want people to triple their their interest payments over the cost of 50-year mortgage? They're not going to have equity until the year 25." You're like, guys, he's throwing ideas out there, bro. He's throwing ideas, seeing what sticks, but they're treating it like it's something that already happened. All I ask these people, if anybody listens to this, maybe anybody gets a wind of this and they know these individuals, all I'm asking is calm down, guys. Things are going in the direction we want, but we are at a war with everybody. We are at a war with district courts. We are at a war with federal courts. We are at a war with the Supreme Court. We are at war with everybody. It's not going to be clean and easy as you want it to be. How can it be? The people that have been in power are holding on for dear life, and they are not going to give it up. They are not going to give it up without fighting to the very, very end, because if they ever lose it, they are done for. This is what a transfer of power looks like. This is what a conquering looks like. It is dirty. It is messy. It is going to cause pain. It is going to cause suffering. But in the process, are you seeing the result that you want? And I say, I am. The border's closed. People are being rounded up and deported. They're even given the option to turn themselves in, get some cash, and self-deport. Like, they are using multiple strategies to solve issues. It's not just a single strategy. It's multiple strategies to solve issues. Guys, what else do you want them to do? You want them to activate the military and go door to door? Are you insane? If we do that, if the other side comes into power, what's to prevent them from doing that to confiscate guns? You understand? Like, you have to be mindful of the actions you're doing today, because they will be used in the future by those you disagree with. You cannot create a new foundation, a new baseline of what's acceptable. As a proud Trump supporter and a proud right-wing conservative, I support you, President Trump. I support your cabinet on almost everything you're doing. Do I have some disagreements, or are there times where I'm like, of course. But if I agreed with everything President Trump did exactly, then I wouldn't just be a supporter. I would be a member of a cult. If you agree with everything President Trump does, and at no point in time do you go, I don't know about that one, guys, then you are part of a cult. You are beyond ideas. You're just on team. And I am on nobody's team. I am on this team for now because it is serving the purpose that I would like to see our country move towards. But if it ever deviates from America first to the world first, Israel first, Qatar first, China first, immigrants first, then guess what, guys? I would jump off this team. I would jump off this bandwagon. And I would look for other like-minded people and be like, you know what? That looks more like where I'm at. But This guy is at war with everybody. He's taking off people, non-citizens. He's removing them from Section 8 housing, SNAP, EBT cash. Like, it is a full funnel war on every aspect. And he's doing exactly what I wanted him to do. And he's doing a fine job of it. And I ask these people, settle down. Look at the good. Don't get pigeonholed into you thinking you have the best path to the solution. Because you're one person. This guy is surrounded by brilliant people. If you look at his cabinet, you can't deny these are brilliant people. He's surrounded by the best of the best. And as a cumulative as a whole, I think overall, even though there's times I'm like, I think that they are looking at everything as a whole, and I do believe that they are trying to come up with the best possible solutions. So, if I can, Candace, Dave, Myron, Sneeko, Nick, Tucker, relax, guys. Relax. Stop looking at individual issues where you think this should have been the solution and this is how we should have done it, because you don't know, you're not there. You don't have the information they have. You don't see the information they see. You're just not part of the inner circle that has the all the information to receive the full picture. What you see is what I see as an outsider looking in. And I think it's very important for people to remember that. We are right now spectators. And it is our job to criticize where we must, but it is also our job to be like, and to hold the line when we see that the person we voted for is doing exactly what we wanted to do. And if there are single item issues that deviate, then bring it up. You talk about it. You don't go into attack. He's horrible. He's the worst. He's this. That is the stupidest thing. If I did that to my wife, right? She could be the greatest wife, but she just doesn't do this one thing exactly the way I want, and I'm going to go on a full attack mode. I would be fucking divorced, guys. If I did that at work, I would be out of a job. What are we doing here, guys? Have some perspective. Like, please, right? Like, for the sake of the movement, like, calm down. Allow things to develop and happen. This idea that it's going to be like this, and maybe the expectation was set because the border was closed so fast and other things happened so fucking fast. But not everything can be like that. It is the United States of America. There are things that involve Congress. And we have to go through Congress for things. This idea that we want Trump to sign a paper and it's going to happen. Well, guess what? It involves departments and people doing their job. And it is not as clean as people are making it seem. And as usual, I am an outsider looking in. And I'm just trying to give some perspective. If you don't watch these individuals, I highly recommend you do. And there's a lot of other good channels worth watching. And this might sound crazy, but one of the ones I really enjoy watching is Jubilee. Do they have some crazy ass podcasts? Absolutely. But they have some that are great. One conservative versus 20 liberals. One liberal versus 20 conservatives. 20 conservatives versus 20 liberals. Like, those are great conversations because what you're seeing is you're seeing a battle of ideas. I respect Jubilee for what they do. And even though it can get cringe as F, sometimes, it is still an insight on how each side thinks, where they're coming from, why they come from there. And, there's so many more out there. And so have some perspective, guys. Relax. take a wider view of what's happening, and don't stop stop pigeonholing yourself into this one item because it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, as fast as you thought it was going to go, and it didn't get solved the way you thought it should be solved because it involved A, B, and C rather than just A. Like, have some perspective. All of you got a lot of what you already wanted, what you were asking for. Now you moved the goalpost, and because that goalpost was moved, and because it's not going at the speed of what you would like, and it's not happening in the precise manner and strategy that you would have liked, like, relax, guys. Relax. We are at a 360 war with everybody. And you see President Trump and his administration winning. It takes time because he's not a dictator. And to be honest, if he ever became a dictator, that wouldn't be good for anybody. That's all I really have. And to anybody that might listen to this, I hope I made enough sense. And I know sometimes I struggle to explain things. It's because I'm not the smartest person in the book, guys. I don't have the largest vocabulary. I'm not the person that's going to be able to write a 20,000 word essay, and that's not me. I'm your average American. I'm smart enough, but what separates me from a lot is I'm very open-minded. I'm willing to talk and hear anybody without judging them. And I'm willing to just have a simple back and forth. I hate debating. I think debating is the stupidest fucking thing to ever exist. This idea that somebody's trying to tell you something, you're like, oh yeah, but what about this? It's so fucking cringe. It's so stupid. Here's an idea. Just talk. Be normal. Let somebody has something to say that you disagree with, let them say it. Let them say it. And then when they're done, if you're uncertain about what they say, ask them about it. Have them clarify and be like, hey, bro, I understand what you're saying, but where did you get that from? Like, I don't understand that. Like, I can understand this part, but this part, like, I'm not understanding there. Can, like, explain that. And guess what? People will, as long as you're respectful. But the moment you start talking to people like they're douchebags, you end up being the douchebag. Thank you guys for your time. To all those people I mentioned, all those very smart, very capable podcasters, and like, I hear where you're coming from. I just disagree. I think you all are being very ungrateful. I really do. I think you are being very selfish, and you're willing to burn a very, very, very successful movement because you believe you know better. And the difference between me and you guys and a lot of people like me is we don't think we know better. We're not trying to pretend we know everything. What we are doing is we are seeing what's happening and we're just on standby. We're on standby and we're letting things play out the way they should play out. And then we're like, okay, I recommend maybe doing a little bit more of that. Because right now, it really seems like y'all are taking a page from the mainstream media where it's, you hear something, you do an immediate reaction, and then you do a follow-up later, and then you clarify. Not everything needs an immediate reaction. Sometimes it just needs time. Sometimes you just gotta wait for the pieces to fall in place. Kind of like the Josie Smollett, right? I was in Chicago walking 2 a.m. in the middle of a blizzard, 20 below, getting some Subway. Sometimes you just got to let it play out. And then after things start trickling, you're like, he's full of shit. You could have told from the beginning, but you just wait. You just wait and you allow them to just lay that brick road for you where it's more clear as to what really happened. Thank you for your time for the third or fourth time. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Thank you.